Pierre de Chavon de Tanatui established Canada's first fur trading post in Tadoussac in 1600. The Quebec of the time was a very different place. You danced on the beveled edge of death. It was a dangerous place. You held your friends close, and you kept your enemies at a distance. Algonquin, Huron, and Iroquois all lived in this area, and now the French. Uneasy alliances and many betrayals. This story was shared to me by an Iroquois gentleman, a very dear friend. Content warning. 16 and 12, a group of 3 men visit a local Huron community to trade for beaver pelt. Only one man returns, and he returns with the horrifying story of the homme sauvage, the wild man. They left the fort early in the morning and made about 7 miles that day. Pretty good, all things considered. They decided to stop for the night in Huron land on their way to trade with the people. They had had a fine meal of beaver tail, had a few drams of whiskey, and brought out their instruments and began to play and dance by the firelight. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, something appeared in the firelight with them. It was huge and covered in hair. It grabbed one of the men as if he was a play toy, picked him up in the air and slammed him onto the ground. They thought it was a bear at first, but it was not. They were never far from their flintlock. They took aim, risking hitting their companion, and fired at the beast. It turned on another of the men with savage fury and grabbed him up and began to slam his head into a tree. Jean-Pierre, horrified by what he had seen, ran. That was all he could do. He headed for the fort on foot in the middle of the night. He arrived early the next day and told his story. They promptly arrested him and put him in jail and sent out a dispatch of men to find out the truth of what happened. They believed that he killed the men. You see, they were carrying a good bit of company funds, and they think that he did it for the money. When the men got to the location, they were horrified to find that the men had been killed. Their feet and their hands were missing. Ears, noses, eyes, and remarkably, their genitals. Their abdomens had been opened, and they had been fed upon. The men whispered to themselves, Vendigo. They got back and told what they had found. They were going to hang Jean-Pierre. They brought the bodies back as they were and prepared them for burial. They found something extraordinary. Jean-Pierre was released when they found the gigantic human-like tooth embedded in one of the bones. It could have belonged to no man.